All right. On this week's episode of the MentalEdge Podcast, your host,
Fernando Lopez Jr.
and Jay Casey, get to talking with
Josh UnsWorth. You can't handle his truth. Truth.
You know, everybody's heard about the last 8 months,
Yeah.
but now this gives me a chance to tell the outside of it.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
I got
That's
right,
to that
Josh.
point, what made
Yeah.
me want. So I like that.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited.
one of the things we're going to do real quick is we're going to say who we are,
Yep.
and we're going to welcome everybody to this episode of the MentalEdge Podcast.
right.
Okay, my name is Jay Casey.
I'm Fernando Lopez Jr.
And I'm Josh UnsWorth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And this is, I'm not sure which episode of the MentalEdge Podcast.
Right. I think it's 13.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's 14.
14?
And we will find out.
we'll figure that one out.
Yeah, we'll
but that's
figure that
awesome.
out before we
Yeah.
post it. But man, we're so excited to have you in here
Yeah.
today, because when Fernando was putting out the feelers for people, it's time for us to stop telling what we believe
Yeah.
in our story, and then get people in here, Josh, who are tangible proof that it can be done.
Yeah.
And Junior sent me, here's what I said: the Marine is perfect. The Marine is perfect.
That was your response.
I
yeah.
said, I got chills when he started talking about, your stops
story,
and your
yeah.
restarts.
Right.
And we're pretty sure you're a Jesus guy, we're Jesus guys,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we just want you to know that's always a thread in everything we talk about.
Good.
We had your story come through via a couple gentlemen that listen to the podcast on regularly, and you know them. So thank you, Bill,
Yeah.
and Johnny, and Santos for referring us and helping
Yeah.
us find Josh. So that was pretty awesome, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be here.
All right. So
it.
let me ask you a question. Some people have their 5-minute testimonies and things like that, but what I'm talking about is your journey testimony. Like when someone starts asking you how you did it, because it's probably the most common question,
Yeah.
like, how did you do it? And normally you're like, let's go from the Marine world. You can't handle the truth.
Yeah.
But how do you even, what is your normal? You probably have something you fall into now. I mean, if you start telling your story, go ahead and start telling your story if somebody approaches you. What's
Yeah.
what's important to you?
Of course, people, they want to know how you did it. What'd you do to get there? And it was a lot of determination, a lot of discipline. I had to change my mindset, and I'm just going to say from the very beginning, it wasn't easy. But I found that a lot of people who ask, they don't want the truth.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're not even 2 minutes into this episode, and Josh is bringing the pain.
You just said you can't handle the truth.
Yeah.
So it's funny because I was talking to somebody today, and I won't even mention who they are, but they said, I've tried a couple things that you mentioned to me along the way, but man, it really sucks trying to eat the same thing every day for a week. And my answer, well, try to do it for 9 months.
Right.
I love it.
Just go a little bit further than the first time it gets hard. And that's what I've learned is people quit.
Hit the record button.
People quit at the first sign of adversity.
They do.
Dang.
And that's in everything in life,
That's right.
And it's not just working out, but when people, even when people start to serve God, the first time something happens, they go right back to their old ways. But you got to give things time,
Yeah.
and let them cultivate to
right.
get growth.
I love it,
agree.
Josh, because
That was awesome.
all the growth happens in the fire.
Right.
That's it, man. The
Right?
journey is
Yeah.
is
It is
the
about the
most
journey.
important, right?
That's right.
Yeah. I didn't ask. Were you born and raised in this area?
Yeah, I went to Lake Central High School. Graduated
Okay.
from there in 2000. I was born in Munster and grew up in Dyer.
Okay.
Wow. He's a region boy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah, and for the listeners, if you don't know, Josh lost how many pounds?
I'm down 105 pounds right now.
In how long?
8 months.
In 8 months. So a lot of what you're gonna hear today is like the discipline and the story behind
Yes.
behind that.
On that, like that's a great point. A lot of people lose weight fast. I've lost weight fast. I've gained it back. The thing that set it apart this time was losing weight the right way, and we can get into that a little bit further into the interview. But if you can lose weight quickly by starving yourself. But what I did this time was I learned how to lose the weight properly through getting knowledge from people that really knew how to do it.
So one was real.
Yeah.
And one is fake. And
Right.
that's what we talk about a lot of times. Like, and one of the things, Josh, that scares me for men is that they often find themselves in this situation where they're so hungry for an answer that they're ripe for the picking.
Right.
From a bunch of systems that set them up for failure. Check it out. This is what happened right in the middle of Josh telling his amazing story. Stella the Bulldog busted into the room head first and knocked the camera over. We stopped recording, but we realized it and we stole the audio from the camera. So for the next 5 minutes, it'll be average, but the story won't be. So sit back, relax, and in the next 5 minutes, that great audio will be back. Men get caught up in this situation where they're hungry for an answer, and of course the one that's most attracted to them is the one that's promised that's fast.
Right.
But the bottom line is they're really designed to excite you and then make you feel like you failed.
Absolutely.
And then here comes the other one. All you got to do is give me $59 more.
Yes.
Right.
Right, but you figured it out.
We
Josh.
live in a generation of people that want things the easy way.
Yeah.
And I've just learned the value of doing things the right way. And sometimes the right way is the hard way. But it's so easy to buy into doing things, finding the easy fix.
Yeah.
But all that does is lead you down this downward spiral of constantly failing if you try to always do it the easy way.
Yeah, I agree. And then there's no personal growth.
Right.
So it's
Yeah,
not
sometimes
developmental.
you can lose. You can lose a lot of weight, but did it fix you mentally as much as it did physically? This journey made me stronger. It made me a better husband, a better father, a better Christian, a better all around a better person. It wasn't just losing the weight. It fixed me mentally.
I love it, man. Do you think it's like? Let me ask you a question. Like, because there's men that listen to this show, but we have a bunch of secret female listeners.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so here's the thing, because they love that men aren't afraid to talk about some things.
Right.
But I already know, although she doesn't want to tell me, I know that my wife likes the love handleless J a lot more than she likes the excuse-laden, overweight, high blood pressure J.
Yeah.
Whether she wants to admit it or not, but it's hard for her to say that in the moment. She's going to fall back more into the mode of, Josh, well, the camera puts 10 pounds on you.
Uh-huh.
And so do the pizza and the donuts.
Right.
Right? So would you say that there is a tangential or parallel benefit to you being in better shape? Like, can you just tell that your wife's like, my man's a man?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You're not ashamed. You're like,
100%.
yeah.
Totally different, and she's proud of who I am. She loved me the way I was, but she loves me more the way I am now. And I think they're definitely it gives her something to be proud of. And not only that, I want to also mention I have a wonderful wife, and maybe we'll get into that here in a little bit.
Yes.
But this journey that I went on, it lit a fire in her. And we have 3 kids. So she gained a little bit, and I don't want to embarrass her. She got behind me on this. She lost 50 pounds herself.
Oh my God.
Yeah. She lost 50 pounds herself. She's just as determined, if not more determined than I am. And she was a big inspiration.
He
through
lit a
all of
fire
this.
through that whole house.
Yeah.
You're a fire starter. That's what we call it.
That's awesome.
Thank you, and I couldn't be more proud of her. She was
got the
with
goosebumps.
three kids. One of them is in school, but the other 2, she made time to get up, go to the YMCA every day. They had child care and do her spin classes, and then she goes up and works out on her own. She did it. I had a team of people around me. She did it on her own. So I got to give her. Give her props.
But she had the support system,
Right.
inspirational, and then a reason, and watching the transformation, and knowing that you are a family, and we're in this together.
Right.
It matters.
Yeah.
I love it.
And
Absolutely.
the energy that you brought to that whole situation, it mattered, and it made a big difference. Man.
It did.
You said you had 3 kids?
We have 3 kids. Yeah.
Boy, girl. What?
We have a daughter named Brighton. She's 6. Our son is 4. His name's Braden. And then we have Rosalie, who just turned 2.
Nice.
And she was a miracle. And this is a little bit off the topic, but I mean, it goes along with what we're talking about. Just because I see the strength in my wife and what she had to endure. We had a specialist who told us that we needed to abort her. We weren't planning on having a 3rd child, so it was unexpected. When we found out it was around Christmas time, I kind of freaked out. And we started having complications in that pregnancy right away. And we had a specialist with 47 years of experience said, this baby won't make it. If you keep her, she'll kill your wife, and you guys need to abort your baby. And that was 3 months into the pregnancy.
Wow.
But we decided against it. We prayed. We leaned on our faith.
That's awesome.
6 weeks before her due date, when they were still telling us that there was no chance, she had an emergency C-section. She did almost kill my wife, and she survived. They both survived the pregnancy, and she's 100% perfect. So we'll make a long story short. She's 100% perfect. So just watching my wife go through that and having that little miracle in my life, that gave me some drive to do what I did.
More inspiration too. You know?
Right.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, I know that. I had a question for you. I put on here when we're talking about inspiration. What makes you feel inspired or like your best self?
So it may sound funny, but when I know there's people out there that think I can't do it, it gives me the determination to do it even more. Like, so just for example, when I first took on this challenge.
Amazing audio back. You're welcome.
It was right before the pandemic hit, and I started telling everybody, I'm going to lose 100 pounds by Thanksgiving. And people say, oh, yeah, you know what? Good luck. Right?
Yeah.
I actually had a family member bet me, and they said, I don't think you can. And he bet me $100.
Wow.
So around July, I got to the midway point, and I wasn't doing as good. You know, I didn't know if I was going to make it or not. I told him double or nothing. So on Sunday,
You roped him, man, Josh.
on
You roped him.
Sunday, he handed me $200.
No way.
So just knowing when I know it may sound bad, but when I know there's people that are doubting me, it makes me want to prove them wrong.
Yeah.
But
The
also
underdog
prove
mentality.
it to myself because I didn't think I could. But honestly,
Yeah.
at the beginning, I didn't really believe I could do it.
And why is that?
Just because I had tried so hard 5 years in a row.
Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Oh my god, check it out. This story is about so good. Here we go.
Going back 5 years ago, what happened? They started asking me to come up on Veterans Day at church on our Veterans Day service to pray. So I got up there and I thought, you know what? They just announced me as Josh UnsWorth, the 2-time combat veteran, and here I am 100 and some pounds overweight. I don't feel good about that. By next year, I want to be able to wear my uniform to church.
Yeah.
So January of that following year,
That's cool.
I started a workout program, and I started doing pretty good. I would just go to the gym, run. I would do some fad diets. I would lose 30, 40 pounds. I'd start to feel good, and I'd get off track. And by the end of the year, I'd put all the weight back on. I did that 5 years in a row, same cycle. In 2019, I lost 60 pounds by Father's Day.
Wow.
By Christmas, I was back to 327 pounds.
Dang.
Yeah. So this year, when I stepped on the scale in January and I saw 327, I mentally broke down. I'm like, I'm not going to do this again. I'm not going to put myself through it. Maybe I'm just destined to be a bigger guy.
Yeah.
I don't think I can do it and keep it off. And then that's when everything started to change. In February, I had a talk with one of the pastors from the church who's a great friend of mine, and he invited me to go to CrossFit.
Okay.
So I joined the CrossFit gym, and I got with a coach in there about putting a diet plan together. And then I got surrounded with a team of accountability partners, and they weren't just involved in my workouts. They texted me. They made sure I was doing good. Like, I had a team of people surrounding me to help me succeed.
Yeah. I love that, man. And so Is that essential? Is that essential to have people that are in your corner? Because Josh, when you go on a journey like this, you develop two demographics typically in your life.
Yeah.
And they show up in strange forms. One of my least favorite people are the people who go, "Well, you're looking kind of sick."
Right.
And I know you've heard it, right? You lose some weight in your face. You know, you're starting to look like you lost 20 years of your life and you're in your 20s again. Josh,
Yeah.
you're looking great. And then somebody who really just wants to keep eating biscuits and gravy in their
Yeah.
life says to you, it's absolutely evil. Well, you're looking kind of sick.
Yeah, I actually have had people say that to me.
I know.
and
I believe it.
And it's disheartening.
Yeah.
But it never stopped me. It had in the past.
Yeah.
You know, you start thinking, well, do I really look that way? If I'm not looking good, then I might as well not do this anymore. But you're always going to have naysayers. There's
are
always
gonna
going to
have
be people that you know. I actually have had people say, well, you lost the weight so fast. You know, you must have such loose skin, which isn't true because I lost the weight correctly and built muscle, and I
Yes.
I actually look better now than I did when I was at the same weight in the Marine Corps 16 years
Yeah.
ago.
That is
Yeah.
incredible.
So
I know when you came out of the Marine Corps, you're probably a monster. So you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I just know the mentality.
Yeah,
Right.
sure.
When my buddies came back, I'm like, they could do anything.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's why I kind of pinpointed that.
Yeah.
So in 2004, when I got out of the Marine Corps, I was 215 pounds. I was 22 years old,
Yeah.
just very determined, right, you know, and I kind of used that as a pin, like you would on a map. You know, I pinned that point in my life. I said, I've gotten so far away from that I'm going to do what it takes to get back. So
Yeah.
I printed a picture of myself out in my Marine Corps dress blue uniform, and I wrote the words "won't quit" over the top of my head.
Wow.
I pasted it on my mirror.
Yeah.
And every morning when I got up and I looked in that mirror, and that's the mirror, I would look in every morning, and I couldn't stand the guy I was seeing. But I got every day, I would get up and I'd look at that picture and I said, whatever it takes today, you got to do what it takes to get back to being that guy. And that's what got me through the
I love
journey.
that. But do you think? And I'm sorry, I got
go
this.
ahead,
My
go
mind is you're making my mind go 1,000 miles
I
an
know,
hour. Like
I know.
So I want you to know something is that like people will sometimes make people feel like they need to accept themselves, but I tell people all the time, what you're missing is that you are not even a reflection of yourself right now.
Right.
So you're the real you. You knew it, Josh, and people will almost because they want to protect their position because your climb, your grind, Josh, it's going to offend somebody because it attacks the way that what they're trying to protect themselves emotionally with.
Right.
You know, so I love that you called yourself out because you knew that you weren't living up to the Josh that your family deserved and you deserved.
Absolutely.
You know, so I'm sure it made some enemies though a little bit. You know, like, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but I mean is that it's like there's people you associated with who live a certain way, and you must have known. I mean, I know you were already in the church life, but I noticed downstairs you looked at that cake like it was the enemy.
Right. Yeah.
So it might not have been people; it was things.
It is. It is. And you know, when I gave my life back to God, that was in 2009, and I was going through a lot of. When I got out of the Marine Corps, I went through a divorce.
Yeah.
And I started drinking very heavily. I started doing drugs for about 5 years. I went down a pretty bad path. But when I gave my life back to God, I had to get rid of some people in my life.
Yeah.
People that were misery loves company.
yeah.
So when I had when I decided I was going to make this change, that required some hard decisions of getting rid of some people that I thought were friends. But what I learned was, if they're friends, they're going to get behind you in the good
That's
times.
right.
You know, and I haven't had a lot of that on this journey. I haven't had a lot of people discouraging me. But when they do, I've learned the value of just tuning them out and worrying about what's best. It sounds selfish, but what's best for me, what's going to get me through this, and not worry about what they think or what other people think.
Yeah.
And I think other people need to hear that. Sometimes we get focused so much on what others think that we allow it to determine our outcome, but you can't. You got to get it stuck in your mind what you're going to do, and who cares what the next guy thinks.
Preach. This guy's on fire.
Now, Fernando has a ton of great questions for you. Okay. And I know he probably sent them to you to warm you up, and I want him to start firing them off. We have a couple, but we do have a great understanding now of where you're coming from. And what I just heard, that, but I don't know. I'm gonna put one more thing together before Fernando starts hammering you with these awesome questions. Was one of the reasons why you didn't have the obstacles you would have had 10 years ago was because your life was already right with Jesus.
Oh, amen. Oh, amen.
You see the difference, guys? Because in the manuscript, we talk about all these things that need to be in a man's life, but I tell them that all of them are useless if Christ isn't at the core.
Absolutely.
None of it is going to last if that soul relationship with Jesus Christ isn't right. So go and hammer him.
Let me
he's right.
on
Go
one
ahead.
thing
Yeah.
before we get started on that. There's a scripture in the Bible, and a lot of people love to use it. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, right? Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes people think that you can stand on that scripture and Christ isn't going to do all the work for you. But exactly to your point, if you don't have him in your life, you're missing out on that supernatural strength that he'll give you. Because, buddy, over the last 8 months, I'm not going to say every moment felt good. There were moments I didn't feel like getting out of bed, or I was at the gym and I didn't feel like going that extra 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. And it was like, I just said, God, give me the power to get through this. And he did.
I love it.
So if you're missing Christ in your life, you're just missing out on an opportunity to do greatness.
Wow.
Yeah.
So many things that I was already going to ask. Yeah, maestro. Yeah, that's his thing. Yeah, that you touched on. One thing that I noticed is, you talked about a pin, putting a pin on a certain moment in your life. Mm-hmm. Like sometimes it's okay to revisit the past if it's going to propel you to that new future.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
So I love when you said that, because you weren't going back there to stay there. You were going back there to see, oh, this is what I learned, and I know that this is where I want to be, and that allowed you to propel you.
Sure.
And then I another thing that I was thinking was, like, what did you find harder to deal with during that journey? Was it like more physical, mental, emotional? What, like fighting through that fatigue? You touched on it a little bit, but I mean, what was it that kind of was harder for you?
Man, I think the emotional side of it and the mental side of it is probably way worse than the physical. I mean, the workouts are hard.
Yeah.
But the scheduling that I had to do, like...
Yeah, you told me about 3 kids and all that. Like, how'd that work
to try
out?
to balance life with 3 kids. I mean, here's how my day looks.
Okay.
Get up at 4 a.m. in the morning. Okay, and this wasn't during the whole 8 months. This was starting in the beginning of October till now. I'm still doing this. I started off for the first 6-7 months. I'm up at 4:30 a.m. I would go do my CrossFit workout, and then go to work, come home and help with the kids. Then I got to a point where I hit a plateau, and I needed to get pushed through it. So then I started getting up at 4 a.m. driving to the CrossFit gym, parking my car, running 3 miles, then doing the CrossFit workout, which takes an hour, going to work, getting off work, going to a gym to do an additional 45 minutes of cardio, then go home and help with the kids. Now, besides helping with the kids, with this diet, everything needs to be meal prepped. So I would have to make my... I would come home, prep my meals a couple days in advance so that I didn't have to do it every day. Yeah. So I had literally from 4 a.m. until I would go to bed at 8 p.m., I was doing something. And, I didn't sit and watch TV or Facebook and... I didn't have time for all that stuff.
You talked a little bit about that, how, sometimes we spend so much time on social media. Mm-hmm. That's time that people could be using to get things done.
Well, the biggest thing I hear from people is, I don't have time.
Right.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the alarm that you hear was initiated after a lame excuse was detected. I repeat, this is a lame excuse alarm. Thank you.
And if you tell yourself that you don't have time, and you're making those excuses, just don't even try it. You're not going to do it.
Well, you're not going to tell you nothing. They're not going to tell you anything.
Right.
You're getting up at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
So it's October.
And did I enjoy that? No. But, I've been out of the Marine Corps since 2004, you build some bad habits again. I didn't like getting up at 4 a.m. in the morning,
Right.
like I did back then. We used to, they made you get up at 4 a.m. in the morning when you're in the Marine Corps, but it's not like I was able, people will look at that and say, and this goes back to your point of the naysayers. People look at that and say, oh, he can do it because he was a Marine. I didn't do this because I was a Marine. I did this because I wanted for my family and I wanted to accomplish a goal. So if you're telling yourself that you don't have time for it, that's baloney. Because, and I don't say this pridefully, but if I'm able to do it with 3 kids in the middle of a pandemic, you can do it.
That's what makes you special.
Right.
Because my wife, she says this, and I roll my eyes sometimes, but she'll be like, I don't care if Ashton Kutcher can do it. Because he's got a chef. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
But you are an example of a middle American man who has every opportunity to embrace an excuse.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
But you choose not to.
I
Josh.
chose not to. And as I mentioned, we started this 2 or 3 weeks before the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
3 weeks into it, I hadn't lost that much weight yet. My gym closed down. Well, I could have said, I'm not going to do it. So I borrowed weight equipment from the gym I go to.
He just took it to another level, by the way.
Yeah, he did.
I set up a gym in my garage, and I continued with CrossFit workouts. Johnny and Doug would come over on the weekends, even when we weren't supposed to. You
did some garage fit.
Yeah, we did some garage fit when they were telling us social. We stayed 6 feet apart from each other, and we did our workouts. But we made a way to do it. We found a way to do it. So even in the middle of this shutdown, I was still staying on track. So it was a choice.
Yeah.
Right. Wow.
There's nothing more powerful than a choice, though, right, Junior?
No.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah, we're making thousands of micro choices every day.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So I mean,
right.
I get it, and you keep just elevating the bar, which is pretty awesome. The next thing I was going to ask is there any, like, what's the biggest thing that you're going through now? As far as to keep in this journey, like what maybe one or two things. It could be top 3.
Great
doesn't
question.
matter. Yeah.
Striking the balance between this and life with a family. So
That's so deep.
my wife got behind me in this, as I mentioned, right?
Yeah.
And I couldn't ask for a better wife. She allowed me to take the time to do everything. Most of my stuff is done in the morning, so it doesn't cut into family time.
Gotcha.
But it became, it sounds bad, but it almost became an obsession. I'm going to hit this goal. And especially when I got close. And she let me do everything that needed to be done to do it. I'll tell a quick story.
Yeah.
I was like so close to the 100-pound mark towards the beginning of October. I wanted to hit it by Thanksgiving. But week after week, I was weighing like 5 or 6 pounds from I was like a little bit from hitting 227. So I would have been 232. Okay. So I was 232 every time I would get on the scale, no matter what I did. So my coach, Scott Blake, has become a great friend of mine.
Right.
He said, you want to get under that? You want to get that 5 pounds off? You meet me at the gym tonight. Okay. So
like my high school wrestling coach.
Yeah. And I
I
texted my wife and I said, hey, Scott called me. There's been an emergency.
There is an emergency. There's a
This
man-emergency.
was a Friday night. Okay, this was a Friday night. She didn't ask me any questions. I said, I'll be home. We'll go on with our plans later and go to the mall, whatever it was we were going to do. I said, so I didn't know what we were going to do this. Scott worked me out for 2 hours. One of the workouts I've ever done in my life. I stepped on the scale after that workout. I was 7 pounds down. And I'm dripping sweat. I had a sweat, 2 pairs of sweatpants on. He killed me, but I hit the mark.
That's incredible.
And I remember I went home that night and I told her, I said, babe, I got it. I got the 100 pounds off, and I'm expecting her to be, and she was, but she said she was mad.
She goes, well, what was the emergency?
Yeah, what was the emergency? And she was upset. But my point to all that is, I had to learn that the goal's done now, and I'm still gonna focus on the next goal. But I got to get back to being 100% dad, 100% husband, and be just as committed to them as I was to reaching this goal.
That's right. And first of all, I just want to say something. I don't want to cut into Junior's questions, but so for the longest time, what you're doing, I've been telling people, they tell us all the time that they don't have time. And I let them kind of work through it, okay? And I ask them, well, what are you doing at 4 o'clock? Well, I pick up the kids, and I let them work through their whole day. And then I ask them, well, what are you doing at 5 a.m.? And you know what they always say? I'm sleeping. I go, there you go.
Right. Yeah. You have time.
Yeah.
There are 24 hours in a day. I'm telling you, take your phone out, look on the app that tells you how much time you spent on social media. Ooh. Take that amount of time and apply it towards working out, and your life will change.
It's kind of like when we quit social media.
Yeah, he did a month-long fast.
Did a 33-day social media fast. Got so much accomplished. So it makes sense to me. I get it. I didn't realize how much time I was spending on social media. It's a matter of multiplication, like you said. If you multiply 30 minutes times, every day, and that's just one app.
Yeah.
That's just one app.
That's just one app, and you multiply that times 5, times 4 weeks, times a year. Absolutely. There's people out there, that they have their full-time job. Another full-time job is scrolling through social media. That's like another full-time.
And here's another thing. I did CrossFit, okay, but besides the CrossFit, I ate 5 to 6 meals a day. After every meal, I went for a 10-minute walk, no matter what time of the day that meal was. And I've gone through all the months. And not everybody has to get as extreme as I did. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
Not everybody's cut for that. I get that, but if I couldn't get a 10-minute walk in because it was raining, I grabbed my jump rope and I jump roped inside for 10 minutes. So I was at work and I was on my 15-minute break. I had my food and then I went for a walk. I did something active. So you don't have to do CrossFit, but just stay active, stay moving.
Yeah, I love how life isn't in charge of you.
Right.
You're in charge of your life.
Absolutely. That's a great point.
Yeah.
Jay says that all the time. He'll say, like, men, if you guys want to go do something, like, example, if you wanted to go for those 2 hours to the gym, and you had something prior to do, like you're supposed to wash the dishes or help take care of the kids or whatever that is, he's like, no matter what, even if during that workout you break your arm, as a man, you should get home, wash the dishes, and then go to the hospital.
Yeah, you fulfill that promise, right?
You fulfill that promise, right?
I love that.
Yeah. Because Junior, he's so right. Josh, your plan didn't build animosity within your family about your plan.
No.
That would have been another pitfall, right? In fact, your plan excited your family. Now, don't get me wrong. They probably roll their eyes sometimes, right?
Okay.
They're like, Dad, you got to go for your walk right now. You're like, right now it's Dad's commitment level, but it's the perfect formula what you're applying.
Yeah,
and you're probably tweaking it to make it better.
No, let me touch on that real quick too. So we did I did the walks, right? Mm-hmm. But then in the summertime we turned it into a family walk. Okay,
that's what it's about, right there.
And I think that it's important that because your kids are watching everything you do, right?
Yeah.
And they saw these habits that my wife and I were developing. They started to ask to go on the walks. My daughter came in a couple months back. I've never made her work out or do anything. She got up from the dinner table and just started doing burpees. She's 6.
She's 6. Oh,
so and they're watching what we do.
Yeah. They're watching, man.
They are, and I think all we can do is be a good example. And I used to, obviously love to pig out candy, donuts, and all that stuff. And they're kids; they get that stuff. Yeah. But now they know they've learned the importance of how to control it. So Halloween came around. They had bags and bags of candy. They know at night, if they finish their dinner, they get one piece and that's it. They're not pigging out on it.
Yeah.
They're also asking, Dad, can we have chicken? Can we have, they're not wanting all the bad stuff. So I think that's important too.
Did you come from a family where health was important?
No.
I just asked him. I didn't know. I didn't know.
It was my mom and dad were divorced, a single mom. Most of the time she was grabbing something on the way home, so she didn't have to cook. And she was a great cook, but it was rough growing up because we didn't have a lot of money, so we ate bologna sandwiches, and so no, it wasn't.
And society makes it really easy to like pig out on crappy food anyway.
Sure.
They make it nice and cheap.
Yep.
So which leads to my next question is like, for parents that are listening to this or dads that are listening to this, what advice would you give them on how to, and I think you already alluded to a lot of it, but like raising their kids as far as communication, style, eating, things of that nature?
First of all, I want to say there's no such thing as a perfect parent. Take that pressure off of yourself. I did it for so long. You're going to make mistakes, okay? And be okay with making mistakes. As far as communication goes with your kids, don't be afraid to be transparent with your kids, okay? My kids are only 6, 4, and 2. Yeah. When I mess up, I pull them off to the side and I apologize.
Yes.
Okay? And here's just a quick story, Listen, I was a Marine, and I'd be lying if I said once in a while when I get upset, I might let a curse word slip.
Yeah.
Right? My son heard me say the word that sounds like shoot. Okay?
Yeah.
Him and Mama were at the mall, and she knocked the cart into something, and he said it.
Yeah.
So she told me, and I knew, okay, they're listening to us.
Right.
I pulled them in after I heard about this, and I said, Braden, listen, that's a bad word. Daddy should not have said that. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm going to work on that. That's not good for me to do that. And those are bad words, and I'm going to try my best not to say them anymore. And I apologize to him for that. And I think if you make a mistake, it's important to own up to it and teach your kids that. As far as like with the healthy choices, if you're sitting around pigging out, they're going to want to pig out.
Yeah.
If they see you making healthy choices with food and exercise, they're going to want to do that.
Yeah.
You're the best example that they have in their lives.
It's going to make a moment. There's going to be a moment that they harken back to what they watched you do.
Absolutely.
So they might make a few mistakes, but they will put it together. But only if you've been given that example.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we have time, there's one other thing I want to mention
go
on
ahead.
that. Okay. I heard a pastor say one time that your kids, the voice they hear in their head is what you speak into their life when they're younger.
Yeah.
When they get older, that's what they're going to hear.
Yeah.
And I found it's important. My kids don't go to bed, and every night my kids don't go to bed unless they're told how awesome they are, how proud they are of them, and how much I love them. God loves them.
Yeah.
Okay. They won't go to bed, and they'll come down and they'll say, "Daddy, you haven't said your thing to me." Okay, and I'll go upstairs and I pray with them.
You tell
tell them their thing, and then
Tell them it, yeah.
and we pray and they get inspired and they go to sleep. But here's what's happened: my son fell down and got hurt. I didn't have to tell my daughter this. She went over, she laid hands on her little brother, and she prayed for him. We got a text from her Sunday school teacher a couple weeks back. She was in Sunday school, hands lifted up, facing the air, worshiping. She's 6 years old. Her little heart out. That was a proud moment in my life. I've never told her she has to worship. She sees mom and dad doing it. It's important to do what you want your kids to do.
That's right. That's right.
That was awesome. Well, I got one last question, unless you got anything else.
I don't.
You wanna, yep. And so towards the end of the show, we want to come up with a question that we can ask, like, the people that we're interviewing, and in hopes that our listeners can get something out of it. And this one, I put, what's the most important thing you've learned to date, and how has it changed your life?
So there's 2 words that can make or break you. And those are the words, I can't. We've touched on this a little bit tonight. But what I learned over the last 8 months is the power of those 2 words. If you tell yourself that you can't do something, you're really telling yourself, I don't want to. And if you say I can't, you never will. You won't do it. You'll allow the excuses to get into your mind. You'll make those excuses, and you won't succeed. You won't get your goals accomplished. If you remove those 2 words from your vocabulary and you stop saying I can't, and you tell yourself I will, there's nothing that can stop you. You can do anything. And I think that's what separates the men from the boys. That's right. That's what keeps you from greatness. It doesn't have to be a weight loss journey.
Yeah.
If you don't have weight to lose, or you don't want to lose weight, but maybe you want to run a marathon, or you think about it. As you're hearing this, think about what it is in your life that you want to do, and then go do it. Take that first step and stay committed before you quit. And guess what? Jesus never said we're not gonna have adversity in our lives. We're gonna go through struggle. Life isn't gonna be perfect, and neither are the challenges you're giving yourself. You're gonna face adversity, but you're gonna be a man, or you're gonna be a mouse. You're gonna do it, or are you not? That's what I learned through this journey, was the power of those 2 words. I can't.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Right.
awesome, man.
You rebuke it in your life. It's clear.
Right,
It's not-
right.
there's no room for the words I can't.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you were able to say them right now.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
I'll have to repent.
Man,
that was
Josh,
awesome.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Josh, that was
cool.
great. I'm gonna
Yeah.
finish with one more question too, and I can tell that really this isn't just for you. It's not selfish for you.
No.
Because I realized in my life, and I can tell Junior, I watch Junior all the time. He loves to breathe life into his children. And sometimes, Josh, people feel like if I do this for myself, it's selfish, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not, because I realized a long time ago, Josh, that you're able to do more for your kids
Absolutely.
if you are the superhero you,
Oh, absolutely.
right?
So
it's not
I'm-
just for you, Josh.
No, and I'm glad you asked that. I actually heard somebody at the beginning of this, and I don't remember who it was. It was a video. Somebody said, it's okay to do something for yourself, because I wasn't just doing it for myself. I was
Yeah.
doing it for my family, to be a better person. But here's the thing. I listened to Arnold Schwarzenegger give an interview here recently. He said, the most important thing is once you reach your goal, help somebody reach theirs. So through
doing
this
it right
whole
now.
journey,
Yeah.
the whole time I was thinking of, I can't wait to get there so that other people can be inspired.
Yeah.
And so if you're a selfish person and you complete a goal, you won't continue to go forward. But if you hit that goal, you're gonna want others. It's gonna be like when you get saved.
Yeah.
You want everybody to know about Jesus.
Yeah.
Right.
I've lost this weight, now I want everybody to know the value of losing,
That's right.
how it is to lose weight, but not just losing weight, accomplishing a big goal, making a
right.
dream
Yeah.
come true. Like, I want everybody to know it, and that's why sometimes it might seem like I'm being a little hard on people when I say, don't quit, don't give up, you know, or how to do it. But it's because I know the value in it.
Yeah, I love it. Now, somebody's going to stop their car in 8094 to do a burpee in emergency lane because of the way this guy's talking.
They're
This
gonna be eating a cheeseburger,
podcast.
stop the car, boom, we out. But
Listen,
that's
I can
awesome.
just tell you, if I can do it, we talked a lot tonight about being a Marine. If I can do it in the condition I was in, mentally and physically, anybody can do it. I was 112 pounds overweight. I mentally wasn't there. I was going through anxiety, depression, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But when I got focused, it's like 100% turnaround now.
Awesome.
And I just encourage you, if you're going to take that challenge, take that first step and just keep going.
Yeah.
So that was a lot, man. This was like currently right up there with my favorite podcast we've ever done.
Thank you.
It was really
Yes,
cool.
sir.
Yeah, I
And
appreciate
the only thing that was different was you were here. So I just want to say that my name is Jay Casey.
I'm Fernando Lopez Jr.
And I'm Josh UnsWorth.
This has been the MentalEdge Podcast, and
We out.
Well, all right. That'll just about wrap it up. Thank you for listening to this episode of the MentalEdge Podcast. Your host, Fernando Lopez Jr.
Oh, he's so handsome.
And his trusty sidekick, Jay Casey.
Hey, that's me.
Seriously appreciate you spending time with us tonight. Remember, if you like this content, the most flattering thing you can do is like and share.